question is like, why are we talking about a reflection on death? I mean, we've discussed our reflections about Queen's death, but why in general we need to actually talk about death? I mean, it's a Sunday morning, everybody thought we're going to just read Tajwīd of Quran and feel good. Yeah, but then we feel good. Sorry, young people, as Itari said, we have to feel good through the understanding of death. What the Western world, the narrative in the Western world is sometimes that death is really bad, right? But in the Muslim concept, death is a liberation. As I said, Muslim concept, death is not bad. But then we still do not remind ourselves about death on a Sunday morning. Definitely not. You'd like to have your morning breakfast, your magazines and your chai and relax on a Sunday morning, but you may not wake up next Sunday morning. That's the reality of life. Whether you're a believer or a non-believer, whether you're a king, queen, or a peasant. So many young people have already died within the last 2-3 days when the news of the Queen's death was announced, where she was 96. So many 19-year-olds died around the globe, but they're not on the news, right? Because it's a queen who died, we got so crazy about the news of her death. But the biggest news in our life individually, if you ask yourself, what is the biggest news in your life? Is it getting into Oxford, Cambridge, or is it buying a car or a house or something you like? Or is it actually an angel comes or somebody comes and says, you're going to die by tomorrow night? So this death, the news of the death is actually the real news and the biggest news of our lives, and not Queen's death. But when we are writing about the Queen, rest in peace, somebody else will write about us very soon. Are we in the right thinking? Is it right to say? Somebody else will soon write about us. So why don't we talk about death? Why don't we remind each other about death? You know, suddenly Queen died and everybody's talking about death. But why is it not a big news every day in your life? It's mainly because the world is created in a way, it's a ghurur, and it's la'ab, means lahu and lahu, meaning we are distracted constantly. These two words are in the Quran, lahu and la'ab, meaning playfulness, and lahu, meaning wasteful talking. Lahu is wasteful thinking, and lahu is like wasteful talking. So wasteful encompasses everything. Like when you go to work, you run your business, you have work, you come back home after you earned your living, and suddenly you are engaged in conversations that did not reflect your thinking, that you may not be able to earn tomorrow anymore. You may end up in an accident. You may not live tomorrow anymore. So the dunya, the world, the reality of the world is it will distract you. It will distract you so much that you become like a living person in autopilot. Autopilot is something when you put the navigations on the plane and the plane just drives. The pilot don't drive, right? So the life is driving us. It's not the thinking of death. It's not the reality of death. It's not the consciousness of God that is driving us. You know, you wake up, you brush your teeth, you do your wudu, you pray Fajr time. Majority of the time during Fajr time, you're thinking, how am I going to rush to school? How am I going to work? Your Fajr prayer becomes an autonomous thing. You're not even present that you're actually in front of God. All you're thinking is, I'm going to be rushing to school or work or business. I have to pay the bills today. I have social events after in the evening. How am I going to cook? What am I going to wear? Shopping, holidays, furnitures. Everything is in your mind within that 10-minute or 5-minute you dedicate yourself to God. But that should be within our consciousness all the time. We are succumbed by life. And that's why we forget the reality of death. Okay. Even the Queen didn't want to, nobody wants to die. No, everybody wants to live. But the reality, as we discussed, the death will assail you no matter where you are. Okay. And now we'd like to, get into the reading of the verses to kind of corroborate what we've been discussing. That is death a reality? Is death going to come any time without a warning? All these things we'll see what Quran mentions. But an open question I forgot to ask. So the reminder of death, it's an important. No?
Can you repeat?
Can everyone? So the reminder of death.
Breaking up.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, so the question I asked is everyone convinced that the reminder of death on everyday life, is this an important topic of a Muslim's life?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. And to remind ourselves about death, what is the best source of it to learn?
Our whole religion is based upon life after death. So this is a transit.
Fantastic, fantastic. Wasim bhai, do you know any poetry of Khalil or?
No.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear some Sufi poetry on these things, but I wish I knew Urdu.
I left Pakistan in
वो है ना
1979.
100 बरस का पल की खबर
हाँ.
नहीं. So this is like you collect things for 100 years, yet you don't know.
Saman 100 baras ka
pal ki khabar nahi.
Pal means a second. Saman means you gather so many things, worldly things in this dunya, but we don't know how long we have to live.
Fantastic. You know, I'm going to come to Zarbai in reference to this poetry, because Zarbai is moving house and he has so much things accumulated he doesn't even know, because that's the way of life. We gather things without knowing, and he has bought things, now he is dumping it, right? This is the way of life we live, right? We bought things, we thought it's going to be useful, and it was useful for 2-3 months, and then we just hoarded it. Zarbai, I'm assuming you may not be doing it, but this is in general way of life. When we move house, we see, oh my God, this is how much it took me to live.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with you.
Yeah. The Queen has so much. The Queen has the whole country and beyond. But when she is going to the grave, she will only have, you know, that little space, and there's nothing will go with her. In fact, if you have been to the museum of Cairo, the pharaohs, the Tutankhamun, one of the youngest pharaohs, he actually made his grave the chamber for all his items, including his chariot, right?
Yes.
But it still didn't benefit him. He's still dead. You know, he can't ride the chariot, right? He's still dead. So these are the point of reminders that why talking about death is very, very important. And the source of these reminders is the book of guidance, Quran. The book of guidance is a reminder. Okay, so now we'll start. So how we'll do the class is, obviously it's going to be a seminar rather than a lecture. So we'll have interactions, questions, answers, and we'll read selected verses. But then at the end of the class, we'll read Surah At-Takwir, and we'll pick up a specific verse because of the conversation we're having, and we'll see the meanings, the tafsir, and the application in context to our life of that surah. Okay, and we'll tie everything back to death. Inshallah, we'll try our best to do that. So that's my reason to select this surah. And of course, Allah says in Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا, meaning that do not they ponder over the Quran. Okay, and pondering comes from open thinking. Why did Allah say this? Why Allah didn't say this? Okay, and we'll see some of the reflection. So it will be a practice of reflection on the Quran, practice of reflection on death, and also learning, reciting for the reward. And we'll try our best to correct our tajweed. But your main tajweed teacher is Ustadha Mubashirah, of course. But we'll see how much we can do, inshallah. So Surah At-Takwir and some selected surahs we'll recite, selected verses we'll recite from different surahs. So Surah An-Nisa, since Adiba mentioned Surah An-Nisa, I want Adiba to read this verse. Let me just share my screen. Adiba first. Bismillah. And everyone listen carefully, and we'll translate each verse. I'm going to zoom. Everyone can read this Musaf, right? This writing, right? Madani script.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Zarba, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but can you please make it bigger?
Okay. Is this better?
No, it's still the same.
Or is it still small? I have, Adiba, can you see it big?
It is
Adiba,
there, Ustad, but it's better if it will be zoomed. It's a bit small.
If you guys on your screen, in the corner, you will see
2x.
it's like 1x, 2x in the corner of your screen. If you
Yeah.
click that, you can enlarge it individually by yourself.
Right bottom.
Right corner at the bottom. Bottom right corner.
I have actually zoomed it to the maximum.
Can you guys, do you guys have that? It's like 1x and then, no?
1.5.
Yeah, and then you can go to 2, 2.53, however you want it.
So that's an option available.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
We are basically using iPad, so I don't.
Oh yeah, then I don't think it'll. Sorry.
iPad doesn't have it? Okay. Aditya, Arisha, can you open Surah Nisa?
We can research it from our mobile app.
Yeah. Okay. Surah Nisa, and the verse number is 78. Okay. Surah Nisa, Surah number 4.
78.
It starts with Aynama.
Yeah, found it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bigger now. It's we can read it from the screen.
As well. Okay. So Adiba tafadali. Bismillah. Aynama.
Okay, Ustad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة وإن تصبهم حسنة يقولوا هذه من عند الله وإن تصبهم سيئة يقولوا هذه من عندك قل كل من عند الله فما لهؤلاء القوم لا يكادون يفقهون حديثا ما أصابك من حسن.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to read like short verses before we go to Surah Takbir. So this is the verse Adiba mentioned previously. If I'm to translate, so Aynama takunu yudurikum. Aynama in Arabic meanings, Aina means where, and Ma means when Ma is coming, meaning it's an open question, like wherever. Takunu means you are. Listen carefully, wherever you are, exactly what we've been discussing, that the death will assail you in the palaces or you are homeless, it doesn't matter. Death will come to you. Aynama takunu yudrikum al-mautu. Yudriku adraka yudriku is to like be able to, like hasil in Arabic and in Bangla and Urdu as well, you have obtained the action. Okay, so everyone pay attention of all these words, and Allah is speaking to us saying, death will come to you, death will obtain you. And people who knows Arabic, and Sadiqa, you can see the al-mouth. Why is the mouth? The word mouth is death. Okay, mouth is death. The mouth is a dhamma. If I explain this to all of you, mouth has a dhamma, not mauta. Yudrikum al-mauta. Rather than Allah says, Yudrikum al-mautu. Sadiqa, can you guess why al-mautu is the rafa in the marfu state?
Because basically we're talking about the mouth is, the death is right now the doer here. Like it's, so
Yes.
Wherever you are, you cannot like I'm guessing hide from death or something. I don't know what yudrik means.
Yeah, I mean, Allah takes the soul, right, through angel, but the fact is, death is being the subject of the action. Okay, so it's like explaining to others who would like to understand this. So Allah said, I take death, I take the soul, right? So the soul is the object of a sentence. If I say that I take tea, tea is the object of the sentence. But if I say that I am taken by tea, it is a strange sentence for the grammatical explanation. If I say I am taken over by the tea, meaning like I am literally like, I love tea so much that the tea now has taken over me, right? That's how exactly what, if it's a parallel, that the death itself is going to come to you. It doesn't even need Allah to order it. The moment we are born, death is also written. The switch has been pressed. Time. Okay, that's why al-maut here is marfu. This is my tadabbur. This is from the reflection. Allah could have said adrikukum al-maut or yudrikukum. Yud takes you, but Allah said that yudrikukum al-mautu, because Allah has already ordained your death. Your death, the time and the place is already written. The death will just come to you. That's why the death itself is the acting agent here, rather than Allah breaking it down saying, I will send an angel or I will cause you to die. If Allah does cause us to die anyway, but here it's an emphasis that the death itself will take you. You don't have to worry, because I've already designated, assigned your time and the place. So it's very important to understand this little bit of Arabic nuance here. Okay, أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت. And then the next part, walau kuntum fi buruj. Walau, law means even if you, kuntum, if you were in buruj. Burj al Khalifa, why did they say burj? Means towering, lofty, high place. Buruj mushayyada. Mushayyada means something. This pattern in Arabic, shayyada means to kind of building over something that is built and over and over and over, meaning just going tall. And also mushayyada is used in Arabic as something that is fortified, that is strong. And buruj is castle or tower, something high up. So it's high and it's strong, both, high up and strong. People in the flooded areas, they don't get affected if they live in high areas, right? So from the beginning of history, living up the mountains, living in high tower has been seen as a safety. And then anything that is fortified and strong, that's also a concept of safety in any society. But Allah has made it very clear that if you live in the towers and if you live in a very fortified fort and place, death will still come to you, like which had happened to the queen. She lived in castles, but death came to him. Allah has mentioned this from the beginning of the Quran, from the beginning of Islam, that buruj al-mushayyad, even if you live there, death will come to you. Okay? And we're not going to worry about the rest of it because it doesn't directly apply to what we're discussing. Is that clear, the concept here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So lofty castles and death itself is assigned. These are the two things we have to take from this verse. Okay. Now are there examples, parallel examples in the Quran? Does anybody know where people have built high constructions and Allah still destroyed them? Who knows that? There are. Anybody?
Ad and Samud.
Ad and Thamud. Ad, people of Ad and Thamud. So people of Ad, how old are they? Those tribe of people, Ad. Yes.
I can't remember. I think they were very giant.
Yeah, no, but as in, how long ago was it? Sorry, I'm sorry. How long ago was it?
Obviously before Prophet Muhammad's time.
Yeah,
of course, not sure what the exact the time is. No.
Yeah, Ajita, Risha, what do you think? How long ago was it?
I have no idea.
So how long ago was Jesus, Isa alayhi salam?
2000.
Yeah, and they were like 1,000 years before him, right? That old.
2000.
Yeah, 3,000 plus years ago, right? And the prophet who was sent to them was called Hud alayhi salam. Hud, yeah, Hud alayhi salam is an Arabic name actually. A lot of the prophets in Quran are not Arabic names, okay? But anyway, that's not the point of conversation. So the parallel here is that the people of Ad are famous for making big like structures on the mountain. Has anybody seen them? Structures. Let me see if I can add people of Ad structures. Let me see if we can find pictures. Yeah. Can you see some of the pictures here?
Yes.
like for example, this one, if you look carefully, look at the size of the people on the ground, yeah, nation of
Yeah.
Ad, and look at the size of the buildings. They have curved. They have.
Is this in Jordan?
I think so. Mubashirah visited these places. She mentioned Jordan once, but then when I looked
Petra.
upon on
Is
the
it in Petra?
yeah, it's supposed to be Petra. It is in Petra. This, especially this picture, is quite famous. This one, but if you look carefully, how small these people are. But would you not wonder 3,000 years ago, or more than that, if somebody or a nation of people who could carve mountains and build such things, how clever, intelligent they were, right? They're not like stupid people. They couldn't do anything. You know, these structures are still there as well, right? These structures are still there. It could be that Allah protected them for us as an alama, as a sign that Allah killed those nations. Okay, so those people said they used to say that the Quran says that, do you construct elevations, every elevation, like every high place, a sign, thinking, sign means your houses, thinking that you'll live there forever and nothing will take possession of you, meaning death. Because when Ad and Thamud, these two nations, they were building high places and palaces on mountains, they started to think there's nobody is as strong as us. Nobody's as smart and intelligent as us. So they started doing oppression to people, their local people, because nobody could go against them, right? And Allah sent the sound, screeching sound, and the other nation, wind. With the wind and the sound, he killed the entire generation of people. Just the wind and sound. Okay, so let's read the verses here. I think I have it. Then Thamud, Surah Al-Shu'ara. Yeah, Surah Al-Shu'ara. Kadzabat Ad. Okay. Now Adiba has read. So Zahir Bhai, no, Zahir Bhai, the very last. Ajita, Arisha, you'll be reading. Ajita, please. Kadzabat Ad.
Okay. What surah is this from?
Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Kadzabat Ad from here.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. كذبت عاد المرسلين إذ قال لهم أخوهم هود ألا تتقون إني لكم رسول أمين فاتقوا الله وأطيعون وما أسأل عليه من أجر إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين أتبنون بكل ريئة تعبثون
ريء آيات تعبثون. Ayat, like ayat of the Quran. Ayatan.
آيات تعبثون.
Very good. Carry on.
وتتخذون مصانع لعلكم تخلدون.
MashaAllah, that's it. So here it says Kadzabat Ad al-Mursalin. Mursalin is prophet, like Surah Hud. And Kadzabat meaning they rejected, they denied the prophet. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ, when the prophet Hud alayhi salam said, أَخُوهُمْ هُودٌ أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ, that do you not fear God? Inni lakum rasulun amin. I am for you a trusted messenger. So Hud alayhi salam gave message to Ad, and obviously Ad was rejecting because they thought they're big and high, they have the power to build castle over the mountain, and they started doing zulm, doing oppression on the people. Do you see it even today when there are presidents and ministers and powerful people of powerful countries? They have money and power of defense, ammunition and defense utilities. What do? They start a war on other countries. It still applies to us, but they forget that people in the past, big tyrants in the past, they've all died, whether in the palaces, on the war, they've died. They don't exist. And that's what Allah is saying here. 1400 years ago, Allah is saying that you're making tabnuna, meaning you're building in every high places ayat, like your signs of mastery, your signs of wealth and power, that you're building high castles on high places. Tabasun, thinking you live there. وَتَتَّخِذُونَ مَصَانِعَ, that are you taking those places? Masna meaning something that you've manufactured. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَخْلُدُونَ, that you're taking these places as if khalidina fiha. Do you remember the verse? Khalidina fiha meaning living there forever, right? So are you thinking you're going to live there forever? These are the questions Allah is asking. So again, it ties back to the death of the queen. Regardless where you are, this has happened before. People have lived in high places, castles, 3,000 plus years ago. They're all dead. They're all dead because they rejected God or they have natural death, whether they're Muslims or non-Muslims. Again, we're trying to draw a parallel with the powerful people of today, powerful people 3,000 years back. And Quran is telling us through the history. Quran is giving us a story for a reason. These stories are lessons to follow. Allah did not go into detail of how tall Ad was, Samud was, or how what they used to eat, and all these details could be found somewhere else. But what the important message is, Allah is saying, are you making big buildings thinking you are going to live there forever? But no, you're not. How? Again, next verse we read that Allah is destroying them with the wind. Okay, which surah it talks about this? Does anybody know? 7 days and 8 days of violent sound, screaming sound. The windstorm. Anybody knows? And funny thing is, those wind did not destroy the constructions, but destroyed the people. So let's, Surah 2, I think it's in Surah Al-Haqqa. Okay, so who reads now? Arisha, can you read from Kadzabat Samud from here? Bismillah.
Aisha will be back in a few minutes.
Okay. She's on a break. Okay. Sadia Appa and Wasim Bhai, please read. Wasim Bhai hasn't read.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. كذبت ثمود وعاد بالقارعة فأما ثمود فأهلكوا بالطاغية وأما عاد فأهلكوا بريح صرصر عاتية سخرها عليهم 7 ليال و8 أيام حسوما فترى القوم فيها سرعى كأنهم أعجاز نخل خاوية فهل ترى لهم من باقية.
So again, Kadzabat Samud and Ad denied the Qariya is the day of judgment. Okay, the Qariya is like the translated here. The apparent punishment, the calamity, the apparent punishment Allah is sending them. Allah sent them messages through Hud and Salih alayhi salam, but they didn't listen. Okay, and let's look at it. Wa amma Adun fa ahliku meaning, and Ad was afflicted, or Ad was taken out. Rih means wind. Sarin atiya meaning like violent wind. Sakhara alayhim. Sakhara. Sakhar is like a rock, like it's not stones, it's like hard rock. Sakharaha alayhim, meaning the wind literally ate them, literally pecked them and taken out. Like when you sakhar in Arabic is like a rock, but sakhara meaning you are rocking on something, meaning you're carving something out on a hard surface. So sakharaha alayhim, the wind literally pecked on them continuously. Sab'a layalin, for 7 days, was thamaniya, 7 nights and 8 days. Husuman fatara al-qawma fiha sara. Okay, so that's not. So again, these are parallels in the Quran. Not just Allah is talking about death will take you. Allah is giving us examples to understand how previous generations who rejected God, who rejected God because they thought they were powerful, they rejected God because they had money, they rejected God because they lived in lofty castles, they're all taken out, okay, by wind or sound, literally things that we cannot even think. Things that we cannot even think that can kill us. Wind and sound. Who would think sound can kill us, right? But they became pulp, literally, with the punishment of Allah. What is the best example of a tyrant, like the wretched tyrant in the history of humankind, mentioned in the Quran, who died? I'm sure everybody knows this, or can.
Fir'aun.
Fir'aun, exactly. So the Pharaoh. So why are we saying he is like the worst kind of kafir in a way? Why? Of course, he did so much zulm on people. But what is one of the key attributes of, well, should I say attributes? What is one of the key points we should mention about Pharaoh? What did he say about God?
So it was a more of a symbolic thing. Pharaoh was treated like a god.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, in Thailand till today,
Yeah.
the king is like a god. You totally bow in front of him. So, so that concept of being a god-like figure or being a god, I think that is why Pharaoh is stated so many times in Quran, and it's a symbolic thing, and also to give ibrat, to give an example that how a tyrant can do, what a tyrant can do.
Absolutely. I think I totally agree with this point. So if Fir'aun was like the figurehead of tyrants in the Quran, even he died. How did he die? Ajita? Ajita is there.
Was it the storm?
Huh? Storm? No.
The sea, when the sea.
The sea collapsed on him.
Yeah.
The sea, the Exodus, right? You've seen the film Exodus, right? It's
No.
It's the story of Exodus. Musa alayhi salam, Allah made way. He struck his staff on the sea. Allah made way for him. The sea divided. While Musa alayhi salam crossed with Banu Israel, his people, when Fir'aun was chasing him, the sea collapsed on him. Okay, Fir'aun is dead. And in Cairo Museum, there's two opinions. Dr. Maurice Bukai think it's Maranputa, the pharaoh who was drowned, and Egyptians believe it's Ramesses II. Okay, and Dr. Maurice Bukai, a famous French physician, became Muslim, who wrote the book La Science, La Quran, La Bible. He did carbon X-ray and all that on when President Said Nasser was there in Egypt. He borrowed the mummies and he found one of those mummies which has a hole on the skull. Okay, and his skin color was different than the other mummies because he was there in the water and taken out quickly. Who took him out? Of course, Allah, because the Quran mentions that I have preserved the bodies of Pharaoh for next generation of people to come. And that Pharaoh specifically had a hole on his skull, thinking he struck a rock or something when he was drowning, and it made a hole. But obviously, why didn't Allah mention the name specifically of the Pharaoh in the Quran? Because Quran does not give out specific details unless it's absolutely necessary. Obviously, Desi culture, everybody wants to know why Kaaba is square, why is it not round, or how many angles Kaaba has, how far is the Zamzam. These are not the purpose of Quran. Quran is not a Google map or information book. It's not a yellow page, right? People like to know about those details that has no meaning. It's not about which pharaoh, it's pharaohs in general. Pharaohs in general, they're all tyrants. Allah destroyed them basically by destroying the one of the worst ones among them. That's the most important thing. So again, Quran is giving so many examples. There are other examples. Nuh alayhi salam's nation was drowned. Okay, but let's read this. So who will read? Sadia Appa. Bismillah. So this is in Surah Al-Qasas. What did Firaun say? That he became like the worst kafir in the world. Like you cannot even think of something like this. Sadia Appa, Bismillah. Qala.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال فرعون يا أيها الملأ ما علمت لكم من إله غيري فأوقد لي يا حمان على التين فاجعل لي سرحا لعلي أطلع إلى إله موسى وإني لأظنه من الكاذبين
So قال فرعون يا أيها الملأ, like all my people, basically his servants. ما علمت, Firaun said. What did Firaun say? ما علمت لكم من إله غيري. This is the line. Everyone listen carefully. I don't think anybody recently has said this, even the staunch atheists. ما علمت, I don't know for anybody who's your God except me. One thing is treating the king as a god. The other thing is that the king is self-proclaiming that I am God. Therefore, and this fa is saying therefore. It's like an effect of what the sentence is. Fa means therefore. It's a particle. It's a conjunction in English grammar. فَأَوْقِدْ لِي يَا هَامَانُ. So therefore, because I'm your God, set a fire on the thing is like clay. فَإِجْعَلْ لِي صَرْحًا لَعَلَ. So I forgot sarhan. A tower again. Make a tower, set a fire from the stones on the clay, and make a tower. Now listen, look at this carefully. لَعَلِّ, so that. لَعَلِّ means so that. أَطَّلِعُ, meaning I will examine. Ittala'a means to examine something. I will examine ilayhi, to the God of Musa. You know, he's still doubting the God of Musa, or he's showing his arrogance that he is going to examine the God of Musa. Wa inni adunnuhu, and I think, adunnu, dhanna yadunnu, adunnu meaning I think. Min al-kadhibin, I think Musa is from the liars. Yeah. So two things he said, that he is God, and he is doubting that the God of Musa, he wants to go high up and speak to the and see if there's really a God there. And how foolish is this? I mean, how high up can you go in the skies anyway? It has no limit. Okay, so didn't Fir'aun know the sky doesn't have a limit? How far can you go? No one can build that sort of high high structure that you will go and reach God. Impossible. Fir'aun knew it. Fir'aun knew it because of his power and arrogance, he is starting to reject God. Now, how is this relating to our life today? If you see people who are poor, now they have money, or now they have power, their piety also goes out sometimes. Money changes your attitude. Power changes your attitude, right? The Pharaoh were the oppressed people. The Pharaoh were the people who were the poor before, who were the destitute people. Now they have power. They started to claim their God. And many of the time we have friends and family or extended people we know who didn't have anything. Now they have a lot of money, and they also have some political power in the society. They change their view. They change their attitude. You know, I've seen many in my small life, short life here. But anyway, these are some of the reminders of the powerful people with castles and everything in the world, but they're all gone. But since we're kind of directing our conversation to death, we'd like to know that Quran talks about death, but how did Quran emphasize death? Did it repeat death many times? What do you think, everybody? How many times did Quran talk about death? A lot, 100 times, 10 times, 5 times? No? Let me see if I have that. So the word mouth look carefully. I've looked for the word mouth. Mouth is death, right? Mouth is a noun. Mata yamutu is a verb. So we have like 91 results, like 91 times. It's not most accurate, plus and minus 91 times. But look at some of the verses. Let's look at some of the verses, okay? Some of the shorter verses first. Okay, so who will read now? Adiba again, Bismillah. Adiba, read from the short verses here. Surah Al-A'la.
Okay, Ustad. ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا.
Can you translate? Or Sadiapa can help translate.
I won't be able to, Ustad, without the translation.
Okay. Sadiapa, can you help translation?
Then Summa, then La Yamutu, like no death or no death in it, and no, yeah, and there is no life. There is no death, and then there is Yahya.
Yeah, is life. Yeah, so you're in between life and death. What do you think Allah is indicating here?
You're in between life and death.
Yeah.
Is this the time when you are?
So yamut is from maut.
Yeah. So this is so then you are not, you're in between. You're not dying and you're not living. You're in between it.
In between it. So if I ask Simiapa, what is Allah talking about? Where are we when we are not living and not dead?
It's a transition from this life and hereafter. It could be any time.
Actually, you're very close. It's actually after death. La yamutu fiha. What is fiha? This fiha is la yamutu fiha wa la yahya. Fiha is Jahannam. So Allah is talking about the life. Fi means in. Sorry, fi means in it. Fiha means in it. You're not living. You're not dead. What it means? Allah gives us life. We're punished. We're burned with the pain and gives us life. So we die. Gives us life back again. We die. Gives us life back again and die. And when people say that we don't need God, we have a system of justice in the UK, America, all these developed countries. Imagine somebody is a serial killer. Somebody has killed 100 people, and the judge has found him guilty, and just gives him capital punishment, right? You can kill that person only once by hanging him, right? So one person he's killed, and the judge killed the killer, so it's equal. What about the 99 other people he has killed? How do you punish them? That's why understanding that in this dunya, it's not the final account. We have somebody superhuman, somebody beyond this realm, who will be truly giving us the justice. And Allah is even describing how He will give us justice. ثُمَّ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَا. You'll neither be living, neither be dead. You're in and out, because Allah will give you the pain of death and living through the punishment, which a judge cannot do in this world. It's a very important point to understand when you have debates with non-Muslims in the secular developed countries, that yeah, we have a good justice system, but no justice system is good enough to punish somebody's family. Entire family was killed, right? Entire family, 10 people are killed, but you can only kill the killer once, even with the most perfect justice system. But Allah will make him alive, kill him, make him alive. The pain of death will be there. Okay. Then okay, Simiapa, can you read Alladhi khalaqa?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alladhi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amalan wa huwa al-azizul ghafur.
So alladhi khalaqa al-mauta. Sadiapa, do you say khalaqa and the mauta is in the mansub pattern? It has got a fatha. It's not al-mautu.
Allah created.
Allah created death. When Allah is talking about who created death, he has made this. Khalaqa is a verb. Everyone listen carefully. Khalaqa is a verb, means he created. Who created? Allah. Al-mauta is the object. What did he create? Death. While hayat is life. Okay. That's why it's not al-mautu. It's al-mauta. Okay. When Allah is talking about who created death, he's making it very clear that he's the one who created it, and the object of creation is death and life. Liyabluwakum. so that he tests you. Ayyukum ahsanu amala, which of you are the best in their deed? Huwa al-aziz al-ghafur. Allah is most powerful and the most venerated. Okay. So let's read the next page. Okay. Some very interesting. Let's see. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention from the last page, Allah has mentioned death first in this page. You see, khalaq al-maut wal-hayat. Again, maut wal-hayat. Death first and then hayat. There's a reason for this because the later surahs are talking about akhirah. Akhirah is you are dead already and then you are alive. Okay. The transition happens, I think, I haven't checked, that the beginning of the surahs, the longer surahs, they talk about hayat probably first. But anyway, we were death before coming to life. We were just a soul. The soul is given in the womb of the mother during her pregnancy. Some scholars say around 40 days time, the soul is given. That's why abortion is haram after a certain time. So the soul, we were just dead, basically. We had the soul. The soul is given to a dead piece of meat in the mother's womb. Now, when the soul is given, we call somebody alive. The verse we're going to read here. Oh, okay, beautiful verse here. Who wants to read? So, Zahir, Bismillah. Qalu ma hiya.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وقالوا ما هي إلا حياتنا الدنيا نموت ونحيا وما يهلكون إلا الدهر وما لهم بذلك من علم إنهم إلا يظنون.
Okay, who wants to translate? Sadiapa? Zarbi, can you take an attempt? Qalu?
I can't, sorry.
Sadiapa, Bismillah. Tafadali.
Sadi has gone for, she'll be back.
Okay, no problem. Bismillah. So let me translate. Qalu, everyone listen carefully. This is very important. Qalu ma hiya illa hayatu dunya. Qalu means they say. Okay, and they say, who are they? Those people who reject Allah. Illa hayatuna dunya. Illa hayatuna ad-dunya. We only have dunya as like there's no akhirah. The dunya is a real place and there's nothing after it. Okay. Namutu wa nahya. We die and we live. Wa ma yukhlikuna illa dahar. Meaning nothing takes us over except just the time we are given. Wa ma lahum bidhalika min ilmin inhum illa dhunun. And they have no knowledge. So, and Allah is saying, but they have no knowledge of the akhirah. Okay. They are just assuming there's nothing after it. And they're thinking the time will take them. Actually, Allah will take them. The angel of death, Malakul Maut, will take them. Not just the time. Yes, Allah has given us a set of time. But this is a debate, a dialectic. Allah is mentioning in the Quran because what is the common narrative of atheist people? Saying, yeah, we're all going to be dusted, done and dusted. What's after it? We're not bothered. But Allah is saying, no, there is something after it. There is something after it. You don't know, but I'm trying to tell you through the messengers over the time. So Allah is actually explaining every possible debate possible around death and afterlife, the eschatology. I can't even pronounce the word eschatology, meaning things after life, through the messages of the Quran. So pay attention to these verses when you read and actually ponder over it. Now, Allah is also talking about something very, very profound in Surah Al-Qaf. So Wasim bhai, Bismillah. Waja'at.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Waja'at sakratul mauti bil haqqi zalika ma kunta minhu tahid.
Okay. This is just amazing. Should I translate? Okay. Ja'at al-sakarul maut. Sakar, ja'at means come. Sakarul maut meaning the intoxication, the feelings of death, the pain of death comes. Bil haqq. meaning it's true. The feeling of death, the pain of death is not something, a sentimental feeling. It's a very physical phenomena. It's not an abstract concept. It's a physical phenomena that will happen in dunya. Just like you, if a mosquito bites, you feel it, right? It's not an abstract philosophical concept that, no, I have been bitten by mosquito, but sometimes you'll not feel it. It's nothing like that. Death is a physical phenomena. Your soul will be reeled out. The soul will be reeled. The soul is not just comes and Azrael will just come and take it. This is, I'm talking from Imam al-Qurtubi's Adab al-Qabr, how the soul is taken out. It is slowly reeled out. Yeah, it's like when you have a pinprick or something that goes under the skin, you don't just go and take it out straight away like that. You slowly take it out and you feel the pain throughout the whole time. Or like a little plaster, when you take off your plaster from the skin, what do? The moment you try to take off, it takes your hair and you feel the pain, right? That's exactly, sakar al-maut is the pain of death. And it is so intoxicating, meaning the person will have no strength of saying how he is feeling. We will see him just lying down if you are near the deathbed. But the person, what the pain he's feeling, he cannot even say how much, because it's so intoxicating, meaning he's in a delusion. He can't even speak, barely opens the mouth. That's why on deathbed, remember this, on deathbed, if you are lucky to be around your loved ones on deathbed, the sunnah says that do talqeen, meaning push the dying person to say la ilaha illallah, because he can't even say la ilaha illallah properly. The person around him will have to push him to say la ilaha, or all of you recite around him, because sakar al-maut has taken over him. So here Allah is describing even the experience of mouth, because the person dying can never say how I am feeling. Now my question to all of you, can death be then a peaceful process or a happy process when people say she or he died peacefully? How do you know?
So there have been incidents in our family where somebody's dying and has a smile on his face, and we say he very peacefully, or it has very, like, his face is very satisfied. There is no pain or anything, so we say he died very peacefully.
Yeah, you can say that in your own words, but Quran doesn't say it definitely. And there are, of course, I have seen people. I mean, okay, when you say they were smiling, were they smiling like a big grin, like all the teeth are? No. Sometimes it's like literally like smile of like Mona Lisa smile. You can't even tell if it's a smile or not a smile. But the fact is, people can die peacefully as a metaphorical concept that, he didn't have bodily wound or bleeding or something like that. But Quran says that the death will definitely have you intoxicated in pain. Okay. And then, the biggest of scholars, sometimes when they're dying, people on the deathbed, they say, give me a glass of water, because when you see the angel of death and when you see when you feel the soul is coming out, even the biggest of scholars, I heard, these are just hearsay, that they ask for a glass of water. Okay. So understand that death is a physical reality. Okay. So I am not in the opinion of saying he or she died peacefully, because I haven't found any account of hadith or Quran talking about death being such a beautiful experience, apart from prophets. And Aisha radiallahu anha has a hadith, when Prophet was dying, she said the pain of death is excruciating. Even the Prophet was dying with such pain. But obviously Allah give those incidences for us to learn. Life. So anyway, we'll now read Surah Al-Takwir, but I'd like to summarize what is the rational understanding of death. Is it just a metaphysical, philosophical concept, or is it a reality of our life? It is a reality of our life, right? So all these narrations and stories we read in the Quran from Fir'aun, from Ad, and then tying it back to the queen's death, and high castles, lofty castles, mentioning death and life, all these things, and the occasion of death, how painful it will be. What does it tell us rationally? What is the rational understanding of death? Not like an emotional, sentimental thing. People get upset when you talk about death. Anybody wants to summarize in a couple of words? Mm-hmm. Sorry, what is it?
inevitability, like it has to happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Inevitable. Death is inevitable. Powerful people in the past, they are gone, right? People had wealth, lived in secure places, they are gone. Now,
it's a reminder for everyone.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Zarbai, what is a recent as in the last 1,000 years, 500 years? Who are like the pharaonic people? People who are conquerors. Genghis Khan. Everybody heard of Genghis Khan?
Yeah. Yep.
Mongol warrior. He was like a warrior king who just
ruled more than half of the world.
Exactly, Genghis Khan. Like he didn't die. He had from east of China to west of China to east of Kazakhstan and more. How did he die? He died of an injury from falling off a horse, right? And he was only like I think 1,000 years back. Okay, Napoleon Bonaparte, French conqueror, right? He had the whole of Western Europe, big powerful man, died of stomach illness in a prison. Okay, although this is not verified, but he died. That's the important thing. And Quran talks about Firaun, Thamud, or dying. Okay. I even think about the most secure places, the castle, the president's house in US and UK. During the time of Corona, the pandemic, all of the big leaders had coronavirus. They lived in the most isolated places, most secure, most hygienic places. They had coronavirus. Death is much bigger than coronavirus. So, rational understanding on something through the mentioning of death. Adiba, I would like to ask you, all this mentioning of death, what do you think of Allah being in possession of death and mentioning death so many times? I give you death, I give you life. What is Allah trying to tell us? What is Allah trying to tell us with mentioning death so many times? And He is in control. He is in. What is Allah trying to tell us with the stories in combination of mentioning death so many times in the Quran?
I think it is like a warning sign, and to like wake us up from the sleep which we get into when we just focus on the dunya and we forget about the akhirah. So these repeated ayat in the Quran are like repeated reminders, and reminders benefit the believers. So every time we read about it, we can reflect about it and think about it. And also it is said that we should remember frequently the destroyer of pleasures, that is death, so that we are just not focused on this world, but also work for the akhirah.
MashaAllah, very good. I'd like to add one thing, that Allah, because Allah is repeatedly saying, I give you death, I give you life, Allah is also trying to tell us that He is the only one who's everlasting. There's nothing that will last beyond Him. No castle is strong enough to protect a person from death. No person with the best of health will live forever. Allah is the Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum, right? He is the everlasting. These are the one of the sifat of Allah. He is the Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum. He is the powerful and He is the everlasting. We'll all perish. No matter where we live, Allah will not perish. He is the ultimate holder of power. And the last rational understanding of death is that the death for all of us has been written. It is already there. Okay, like a guided missile. When you put the coordinates, missile is set. You don't see the missile is on its way. When and where it will hit, it is already inputted in that system. Okay, that's how I would try to remember this rational. So inshallah, I hope this all benefited about about our understanding, rational understanding of death. We become emotional and sentimental and upset if we talk about death. That's human nature. But then Quran always talks about death 90 times plus and minus. In every other occasion talks about death, because it's nothing to be so upset about. It's the reality. Reality is, whether you like it or not, it is there. Okay? So now we'll read Surah Takbir and inshallah finish the class in 10 minutes. Let's Surah Takbir. I think I'll pick Sadi Appa and Simi Appa to read half each. Where is Surah Takbir? Share a different screen. Can you see Surah At-Takwir?
Yeah.
Okay. Sadiapa, you read, we have like 29 verses. You read like 14, 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Bil-Khunnas, Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا الجبال سيرت وإذا الإشار أتلت وإذا الوحوش أشرت وإذا
There's no shadda. Hushirat.
حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا الموءودة سئلت بأي ذنب قتلت وإذا الصحف نشرت وإذا السماء كشطت وإذا الجحيم سئرت. I can't see the next. وإذا الجنة أزلفت علمت نفس ما أحضرت ولا أقسم بالخنس الجوار الخنس والليل. Okay.
Thank you. Simi Abba, Bismillah, Tafadali. Wallayli.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wallayli iza
Take your time to pronounce it. Asa. It's a little bit of asa.
Wasubuhi iza tanafas innahu laqawlu rasulil rasulin karimi the qawwati inda dhil arshi makin.
ذي قوة.
Sorry.
ذي قوة.
Yeah, ذي قوة inda arshi makin.
Yeah.
Muto in sama amin wama sahibukum bimajnun walakad ra'u bil ufkil mubin wama huwa alal gaibi bidanin wama huwa biqaumi syaitanin rajim fa aina tadhhabun in huwa illa zikrul lil alamin liman syaa minkum an yashtaqim wama tash'una illa an yasha Allahu rabbul alamin.
وما تشاءون. ما شاء الله ممتازة. Okay, so Adita, can you read back and I'll translate. Can you read back the first two? Adita and Aisha, two verses at a time and I'll translate.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إذا الشمس كورت وإذا كورت وإذا النجوم كدرت.
Okay, stop here. So the verses, the first portion until Falah, Allah is talking about Judgment Day. Okay, Day of Qiyamah. This is a very powerful surah, Day of Qiyamah, and Day of Qiyamah, and from after that, Allah is talking about Allah is talking about the Prophet Muhammad, Jibril alayhi salam, and how people have rejected them. Allah is talking about the quality of Jibril alayhi salam later on, and how he's a trustworthy source that Quran was given to, and there is no adulteration, there is no doubt in the Quran. That's what the message of the surah. And this verse will, my favorite verse, one of the most favorites, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. So where do you think you're going? That's Allah is asking us a rhetorical question, not a real question, a rhetorical question, a question that answer is known to us. Okay, so two parts. The first part of the surah is talking about describing Judgment Day, how it will happen, what will happen. Okay, among many surahs Allah describes. And second part, Allah is talking about the Quran and the Jibril alayhi salam, Prophet ﷺ, and then Allah is asking us the question. The culmination is Allah is asking that after knowing all these things, after talking about future that nobody has seen, I've given a vivid description. What is the vivid description of Qiyamah, the future? Either shamsu kuwirat, when the sun will be wrapped up, there's no light. Either nujumu inkadarat, the inkadara is the stars will lose its shine. Either jibalu suwirat, okay? Jibal is going to be basically pulverized. Either isharu uttilat, the she camel is neglected. What it means, the pregnant camel is like a big wealth for the Arabs. And when the Qiyamah is coming, people will forget their wealth and then run for life. They will even neglect their business, basically, their money, cash cow, the cash camel, who will give a birth to a child, they will leave him. Arisha, can you read Ida Uhushu? Wa Ida Uhushu.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وإذا الوحوش حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت.
Okay, stop here. So Allah is giving parallel again. The uhush is wild animal. The animals will be gathered on the day of judgment because we've done oppression to them. They will testify against us. وَإِذَا بِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ. The sea will be on fire, meaning there will be no water, no sea. Seas will dry up. Okay. Ajita again. وَإِذَا نُفُوسُ.
وإذا النفوس وزجت.
Yeah. What does it mean? Nafs is the soul. Okay. It will be paired with the body because Allah has taken our soul, will be resurrected. It will be paired with our body. This is absolute vivid description of what will happen. No, nobody can talk about future. If this is not from God, nobody can talk about future in such precise description of human mind. You can make up stories. You can make up Harry Potter, but those are not real. This has got nothing to, Allah didn't say there's some sort of Pegasus is coming, some kind of unicorn. Allah is not talking about something we haven't seen. Allah is talking about something people have seen, which is the Bihar, the sea. We have seen stars, we've seen the sky, we have seen the Jibal, the mountains, everything we can relate to. And Allah is saying that how they will become on the day of judgment. Only thing we haven't seen is our soul. So we haven't seen it, we can't see it, but of course it's inside us. Okay, we can feel it. وَإِذَا مَوْئِذَا Arisha, وَإِذَا مَوْئِذَا
وإذا الموءودة
سئلت
سئلت
بأي
ذنب قتلت.
Okay, so Allah is asking about Mawuda is female child. The Arabs used to abandon their female child. They used to bury their female child alive. Allah to be asked. They'll be asked, why did you do that? Okay, so Allah's justice was always there. Arabs, Bedouin Arabs, or those Arabs of previous time, they might have been barbaric, but Allah has sent them guidance. They don't listen. Okay, why was she killed? Why was she killed? Allah will be asked. Okay, and then punishment will come. Ida suhufu nushirat. and they will be they're raised in line. Okay. وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ كُشِطَتْ, meaning the sky. Yeah. The sky will be stripped apart. Okay, so the sky will basically disappearing. Al jahimu su'irat, the Jahannam will be ignited. Okay, wa idal jannatu uzlifat, the Jannah will be brought close to you. Look, everything apart from Jannah and Jahannam, which I haven't seen, but Allah is describing them. That do you see that Allah did not say Jahannam will be coming close to you. It will be set ablaze. But when it's come to Jannah, he said Jannah will be brought near to you. So people, Allah's mercy will be in such extent that you don't even have to go to the Jannah. Jannah will come to you out of love. Amilat nafsun ma akhdara. On the day of judgment, this is one of the important lines, the verses. Amilat nafsun, the soul will know what we have done. And what I mean by this, my own reflection, the soul will know of things that publicly people didn't see you doing. Privately, whatever you have done, either it's a wrong or it's a grave sin, you will know what you've done. Okay, because sometimes we observe religion, we observe prayer, we read Quran or do something, sometimes just to be in presence of the society. Maybe your family is very pious, that's why you're doing it. But in your heart, you don't believe in it, or in your heart, you don't understand these things. So you will know on the day of judgment what your inside was. Okay? Now Allah is now promising al-jiwarul kunnas wal-layli idha asas. Allah is now switching from fala uqsimu the tone is switching, the message is switching to things Arabs used to see. I'm not going to go into too much tafsir now, we're running out of time. So wal-layli idha asas wal-subhi idha tanaffas wa qawli. Okay, so Allah is switching to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is Jibril alayhi salam. Innahu la qawlu rasulin kareem. Because people rejected Jibril and the Quran, saying there's no angel, these are word of bad people, Quran was rejected. Allah is describing this is the word of a noble messenger. You know, when the king or the queen sends a message, a delegation to another country, the ambassador, for example, they are not the layman people. They're highly educated, sophisticated people, dignified people, because like Pakistani is coming to Bangladesh as an ambassador, he will be one of the best in Pakistan's educational structure or in terms of his character and decorum. So Bangladesh is respected as an ambassador, right? So exactly Allah's message somebody is bringing, he is the Rasul, he is the Kareem. Okay? But then the interesting fact is, the quwwatin in the arshil makin. Allah is also saying that he is very powerful. The arshi in the arshil makin. Dhil quwwa, this is actually, you know, the word Jibril. Jibril is not an Arabic word. It is coming from Hebrew. Gabriel, and Gabar means power. Understand that Jibril is not a Hebrew, not an Arabic name, but Allah has translated Gabar from Hebrew and gave Arabic name to Jibril, so the Arab-speaking people understand. But the root meaning is still the same. He is powerful and he is with the Allah's Arsh. Jibril alayhi salam means Gabar, Gabriel. Gabar is also having an Arabic word called Jabar. You know, Jabbar means powerful. Jabbar and Jabar from Gabar, meaning the powerful. So all these things that Muti and Thumma, I mean, he follows Allah, he obeys Allah, and he's trustworthy. Wama sahibukum bimajnun. Rasulullah sallam, wama sahibukum. Your prophet is not a mad person. You know. Until today, people have doubts on the Prophet, but look, Allah is clarifying it that sahibukum, atheists or Muslims who are thinking to become atheists, they have doubts on these things. But Allah has clarified it. Your companion, your brother, Prophet Muhammad is not a majnun. وَلَقَدْ رَآهُ فِي بِالْأُفُقِ الْمُبِينِ. Prophet Muhammad Ra'a means to see. The who here is a pronoun he. He is the Jibril alayhi salam. Rasulullah definitely has seen with his eyes the angel Gabriel, angel Jibril, in the horizon, where everywhere he looked, it was Jibril. His wings were so big, it covered the entire horizon. Okay, there's not a place where he couldn't see Jibril. He's that big and powerful. And the rest is, you know, talking about So these are the words of shaitan, because shaitan is saying, is diverting us. But then the pivotal line here in this surah, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. In translation, Sadiba, how would you translate this? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ.
So where are you going to go?
Where are you heading? Where are you heading in life? This fa, I'd like to finish this with the tafsir of this this one verse specifically. Very important. My favorite line. It's a rhetorical question. So where are you heading in life? I have described the Qiyamah. I have told you how trusted Jibril was. I've told you Prophet Muhammad was a trusted person, and Jibril was a powerful person. He's seen Jibril. He's not lying. That means Akhirah is real. God is real. Death is real. Even after that, you are living in autopilot. You're not thinking about any of the realities of next life, which comes through death. That's why Allah says, Allah used fa'aina, fa. Fa in English, it means so or therefore. There's 2-3 use of it. The first use is therefore. Okay? Therefore, meaning we can say there was rain, therefore there was no match today. Okay? It's called fa for a cause, fa sababiyya, right? Fa has other meaning. Second meaning is used as then. The teacher came, then he taught. Okay, it is used as a conjunction, right? Fa. But here it's used called fa al-fasih, meaning it's for balagha, it's for eloquence. It's a rhetorical question. Okay, Arabic students like Sadiapa, you'll say it didn't say fa ila ayna tadhhabun. There is no ila. Can you see, Sadiapa? There's no ila. To where are you going? It means to fa ayna tadhhabun, meaning say you have children in the house. And, you know, like Adita decided to go out at 9 o'clock, right? Out in the night, and she wants to go shopping or cinema. Sorry, Adita, I'm picking on you. And Simiapa said to her, like, listen, you have to go either with a family member or friends who I can trust. There are apparent danger at night. You cannot go on your own. And she was just packing her bags, and she's, no, mom, I'm going to go. And Simiapa stands at the door, you know, holding the door and saying, so where do you think you're going? That's the rhetorical question. It's not she's asking, where are you going? Okay, so it's a rhetorical question. And that's what we have to think. Where are we really going? We are going towards death every day. You know, the time we spend about nearly 1.5 hours in the class, the time has been gone from our life. It will never come back. We're only heading one way. And that is towards death. So, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? And we remember our death through all these stories and narratives we read today, the surah we read today, and it all ties back to فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. Think, take a breath, stop, and think after the class, فَأَيْنَ أَذْهَبُونَ? Where am I going? فَأَيْنَ أَذْهَبُونَ? Okay, it's not إِلَىٰ أَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. And then the tafsir of Imam Sadiapa, if Sadiapa wanted to read, but we today. So these are taken from, for your references, these are taken from the tafsir of Ibn Ashur, okay? Ibn Ashur, and then tafsir of Ibn Qurtubi. Qurtubi is a European, about 600-700 years old. Imam Cordova, Spain, okay? It's one of the kind of later tafsir. And then Ibn Kathir, they all talk about the same thing. So I've taken Ibn Kathir, Imam Qurtubi, Imam Ibn Arabi. Okay, so the earliest tafsir we have is about 1,000-year-old tafsir, which talks about 2 aspects of this fa'ina tazhabun. One is people who are in the wrong path, who are rejecting. Let me see. Look, it says فَإِلَىٰ أَيْنَ, can you see فَإِلَىٰ أَيْنَ تَعْدِلُونَ عَنْ هَذَا الْقَوْلِ وَعَنْ طَاعَتِهِ? Where are you going? Rejecting an hadhil call, rejecting the saying of Allah, and going against Allah. Qadar wa ma'mar. Okay, so this is a hadith. Ay ayna tadhhabun an kitab wa ta'a, meaning where are you going against my book and against my obedience against Allah. And Jujjaz, another mufassir, this mufassir Qurtubi is quoting another mufassir. فأي طريقة تسلكون أين أبين من هذه الطريقة التي بينت لكم? That Allah is asking rhetorically, which path of life are you taking? Why are you following something that Allah did not stipulate. Is my path not clear enough? Is my path is not Siratul Mustaqim? I have told you how to be on the Siratul Mustaqim, Allah's path, but society, Muslims and non-Muslim society takes us to the path that that is not actually sometimes the path of God, even though we're Muslims. We are always surrounded by people who will distract us, okay? Thinking it is the path of Allah, but path of Allah is very clear and simplified, Siratul Mustaqim. We have to know what it is through Hadith and Tafsir and Quran. But I'd like to wrap it up now, not making it any longer. Just remember this, فَأَيْنَ نَذْهَبُ, where are we heading with this message to me through the incident of the Queen's death, and hope everybody has benefited class today.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
I'd like to also read the dua, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. This is from the Quran. وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. Allah, do not take guidance from us. بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. Once you have guided us, please do not make us misguided, and give us righteous children. You are the best of giver.